It has now been a couple of weeks since one of the greatest showdowns of all time in rap beef between Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and the entire music industry has happened. Hip-hop had become the MCU in my eyes, specifically the Infinity War storyline in that time frame. And now that the dust is finally settling, and the verdict on who won is basically a foregone conclusion, let's take a look at how this battle in the rap industry started, what happened in the midst of battle, and the aftermath of it, and why I believe it felt like a storyline straight out of Marvel. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Josh here, and welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to talk about how I feel as though that hip-hop has become the MCU, and it's great. This is the Retrospective series.
I live in the moment.
Before we deep dive into everything, it's not as far-fetched to say things can be related back to the MCU. So just walk with me real quick. WWE, and I know that sounds crazy bringing up WWE when we're talking about rap, but just bear with me. WWE drew heavy inspiration from this same storyline when it came to the Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Roman Reigns is our Thanos in this case, was the undisputed WWE World Champion. To him, that title was everything, and it allowed him to do any and everything in the company. Show up whenever, do whatever, manipulate matches to go in his favor. It was essentially his Infinity Gauntlet. Roman also spoke prophetically like Thanos did, but with a certain swagger, talking about how the company needs him because he's the cash cow and the main draw, and he's the only one that could steer the company forward. Thanos believed he was the only one that could save the universe because of the overpopulation. And thinking greater beyond that, how the Celestials, godlike beings in the Marvel Universe, are essentially created by planets with overpopulation. So in the end, both characters made good points. Roman Reigns was the cash cow. He was the main draw. Ratings would go up when he showed up on SmackDown. It's just that their execution falls flat. Cody Rhodes is, I guess, our Iron Man in this scenario, and Seth Rollins is Captain America. I know it gets muddy when you look at it from a hero standpoint, but just stick with me. Cody, who had already lost someone before in WrestleMania 39, had found the strength to finish the story and go on to win the Royal Rumble, only to give up his title match main event to The Rock. And I know what you're thinking. Bro, what the does this have to do with the MCU? It does not correlate. And you're right. It doesn't fully. You see, WWE kind of up everything by doing that, but it also gave Cody kind of his Iron Man 3 PTSD arc. Iron Man was terrified at the thought of fighting Thanos until he did an Infinity War. And after he had lost like Cody did, he really, and I mean really, did not want to see Thanos with the hands again. It took his Captain America to talk him out of that weak mentality to get their look back and correct everything. For Cody, it took Seth Rollins to pep talk him out of just giving away his spot at Mania because he felt like he couldn't finish the story. Too many people had fell victim to the bloodline like Seth Rollins, John Cena, LA Knight. Just like Thanos though, Roman's hubris got in the way of his ever so close victory, which allowed Cody Rhodes to capitalize and dethrone Roman. I mentioned wrestling even though it is scripted because there are a lot of parallels between what happened in the beef, the bloodline storyline, and the Infinity Saga. But before we get to the nitty-gritty, let's take this all the way back to 2013. The Kendrick and Drake feud has stemmed all the way back to 2013, where K-Dot took shots at the current state of rap in Big Sean's Control record, throwing shots at Drake. At the time, it shook the core of hip-hop, but nothing ever really stemmed from it other than subliminals throughout the years between the two. And I mean a lot of subliminals. Drake's initial response to this would be in an interview with Billboard stating, "I didn't really have anything to say about it. It just sounded like an ambitious thought to me. That's all it was. I know good and well that Lamar is not murdering me at all in any platform. So when the day presents itself, I guess we can revisit the topic." Kendrick would continue to call Drake to the ring in his BET Cypherverse that same year. Drake since then has never really said Kendrick's name in a song, just shots at each other like on King Kuta, the 100, where they would lay the foundations for some things that they would say later on in their battle. Their animosity started really as just competitive rap beef and mostly remained that way. However, it only grew due to animosity growing over time and not really just talking about it and hashing it out and solving the problem. And Drake has always been known to take things more personal. But to be fair, and to cut Drake a little bit of slack here, Kendrick was the one and continued to be the one to call him out more times than not. At the time though, in 2013, nobody else really seemed to take an issue with the verse like J. Cole and Big Crit. But Drake was still trying to prove to everybody that he is a good rapper more than a hitmaker. So he made it an issue, which has in turn led them both here. So now let's get to the beginning. First person shooter. First person shooter has to be considered one of the weirdest but yet very light-skinned activity disses ever. Drake and J. Cole somehow big Kendrick up in this song, and by Drake and J. Cole, I really mean J. Cole. And it somehow still turned out to be a diss. How was it a diss though? Well, because Kendrick essentially denied being on the song in the first place, and because he has a super hate boner for Drake, they went on to still do the Spider-Man meme bar, which allegedly was supposed to feature Kendrick Lamar. And if you're probably thinking to yourself, these niggas is reaching, that wasn't a diss, you will be right again. K-Dot being somehow offended by any of this was mind-boggling to me. But on the other hand, from his perspective, it's like, I ain't gonna lie, nigga, I don't want to hear nothing or do nothing with y'all in the song or with him ever. And well, Kendrick chose violence. Like That on Future and Metro Boomin's We Don't Trust Your album was not only a smash hit like First Person Shooter, it gave Kendrick Lamar his perfect opportunity to call Drake back out to the ring so they could shoot the 60. Lamar fired 95% of his shots towards Drake. The song even being titled Like That is a diss in itself to Drake, because a lot of people view him as not really being the tough guy as he perceives, or not really being hip-hop, like how Metro Boomin used a lot of Prodigy sound bites to display that he feels like Drake is not really hip-hop, so he's not like that. Lamar compares himself to Prince, to Drake being MJ, saying one outlived the other. It's also really a dig at the fact that MJ needed a lot of help to be the king of pop, and we all consider Drake to be mostly a pop star now more than hip hop, while Prince is remembered being more of a true artist who did everything himself. That bar will go on to be very, very important later on. He would use For All the Dogs in a bar to essentially say I want to bury Drake and everyone associated with OVO into the ground on some top tier hater shit. The last 5%, however, happened to be strays to his good buddy old pal, J. Cole. Lamar will talk about how Cole essentially clicked up with his biracial bestie boy and how he low-key did not with that because Cole's his mans too. Cole and Kenny have been the consensus 1 and 2 in terms of lyrical mainstream hip-hop and will always be put in the same paragraph when discussing one of them. But J. Cole apparently did not like those strays, to say the least. And he would drop this Mike the Leader mixtape where he threw a lot of subliminals to K-Dot throughout the project until we got the 7-minute drill. When listening to the song though, it just didn't feel natural coming from Cole, especially when you consider the idea that he has dared people to jump out and challenge him. The first part of the song, Cole is clearly biting Lotto's flow, which is already strike 1 for me. Strike 2 is when he said Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly was not as good as people made it out to be, which, come on, bro. While that can be an opinion, even if it's your real opinion, it did win a Pulitzer Prize. And if we're really being honest, it inspired your 4 Hours Only project. Strike 3 came from his apology to Kendrick after the diss 2 days later. Man, y'all know how I feel about that joint, bro. It hurt my heart. It just hurt my heart. At Dreamville Fest during his performance, Cole apologized to Kendrick, noting that he was peer pressuring into inserting himself into the mix. He said that the record did not sit well with his quote-unquote soul and took himself out the beef, to which a lot of fans absolutely hated, including me. On the other hand, there was a lot of people that respected his decision to take the high ground on the situation that involves somebody he considers a good friend in Kendrick Lamar.
In my spirit of trying to like get this music out, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I moved in a way that I feel spiritually feel bad on me. Like I try to like jab my nigga back and I try to keep it friendly, but at the end of the day, when I listen to it and when it comes out and I see the talk, that shit don't sit right with my spirit. That shit make me feel, that shit disrupts my fucking peace. So what I wanna say right here tonight is in the midst of me doing that and in that shit, trying to find a little angle and downplay this nigga's fucking catalog and his greatness, I want to say right now tonight, how many people think Kendrick Lamar is one of the greatest motherfuckers to ever touch a fucking microphone? As do I. So I just want to come up here and be like, publicly be like, bruh, that was the lamest, like goofiest shit. And I say all that to say, it made me feel like 10 years ago when I was moving incorrectly. And I pray that God align me back up on my purpose and on my path. You know what I mean? I pray that my nigga really didn't feel no way. And if he did, my nigga, I got my chin out. Take your best shot. I'm gonna take that shit on the chin, boy. Do what you do.
In hindsight, though, I ain't gonna lie, it's clear that Cole made a business decision. When you think about it and look back at the situation, we could only assume that Kendrick Lamar made a phone call telling Cole, hey, bro, you might want to clear out because shit's about to get messy real fast. And, well, shit got messy real fast. But before we talk about the main event, we got to get to, the undercard. So now I want to take a moment to talk about everybody else in the situation. I'm not going to go over the most intricate details possible because, bro, I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot of niggas in this. But I'm just going to highlight most of the people that were involved in this. The Drake Thanos thing doesn't just spark from Kendrick. It sparks from Metro Boomin and Future beefing with him allegedly over pillow talking, what we can assume, and a woman. It also sparks from The Weeknd still having animosity towards his former, but not really former, OVO brother, over what many believe to be Drake being sassy at The Weeknd did not want to sign to OVO, which has been the best thing for him because we all know what happens to artists when they sign under other major artist labels, especially OVO. Roy Woods and Majid Jordan. Somehow Travis Scott seemingly picked a side, to which in my opinion was weird as because while on stage at Rolling Loud, he asked him to play the Like That diss record.
I got you. What you want, Chuck? You got it? I got it. The new one. Nah, you got that. All right, just play the one you got, and we're gonna cut it after the hook. Oh, we're gonna play the album, nigga. The album, man. You got it, Chuck. You got the album. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We're gonna play the fucking album.
As of me recording this, not even a few days ago, Academics went on his live stream to say that somebody major in hip hop also has a beef with Drake, and he wasn't trying to say a name. And so we can only assume that it's Travis Scott. And a lot of people in the comment section assumed it was Travis Scott as well. Now, could he have known that the Kendrick Lamar's verse was on there? Maybe it could be the same thing how J. Cole was in the studio with Metro Boomin and Future and they played the album for him. But I don't know. That whole situation just felt weird on stage because he was way too excited to play that record. Then you have Cardi, who is most likely neutral, but was on the album. So, Atlantized, that whole thing. And then finally, you have the boss, Rick Ross, who even went as far to make his own diss track on Drake, claiming that Drake got a nose job and called him white. Future and Metro Boomin were literally wait, hold on. I forgot somebody else. How could I forget the biggest player in this situation? How could I forget that? The Brown Boy saver himself. Nav was in this situation too. How can I forget that? All right, but like deadass though, Future and Metro Boomin were like assembling the entire Avengers to take down Drake, which is where we get the whole 20v1 narrative. But I want to hold that point for later on. Future and Metro will go on the drop We Still Don't Trust You, along with his deluxe of the We Don't Trust You album, where ASAP Rocky finally enters himself into the fray, bragging about how he's dating Rihanna and how Drake isn't, and alludes to the idea that he slept with the mother of Drake's son, Sophie. Drake and Rocky have always had static over the years, and it's really over Riri, so it was no surprise to see Rocky get a phone call. Me personally, just think it's weird as to be bragging about hitting somebody's baby mom who's a P-star. But hey, bro, that's just me, bro. Different strokes for different folks. I know he's a sex addict or orgasm addict, whatever he is. So, I mean, he did make a song saying that he has a problem fucking. So, hey, bro, do what you need to do, bro. But finally, after all of that, we finally got to the main event in the final showdown. So let's get to it. So let's start with Drake's Push-Ups being the first true diss record to be released. Push-Ups is a reference to Kendrick Lamar doing push-ups on a video on his Spam page, and he drops lines in the records about how he doesn't believe K-Dot is not really in the big three, and how he's more pop than hip-hop, and he's only successful because of the pop records that he's done, like the songs with Maroon 5 and Taylor Swift, and alludes to something going on with Kendrick Lamar and the mother of his kids. There are other lines in there in reference to others, like name dropping The Weeknd's real name, telling Metro Boomin to stick to making beats, how he handed out particular artists' first #1 hits, which could be directed towards Ross or J. Cole, considering it was made such a big deal that First Person Shooter was J. Cole's first #1 record, but it didn't stop there. He would later drop Tailor Made on Instagram, again referencing the idea that Lamar would not be as big if he never did pop records. He trolls Lamar by using AI verses from Tupac and Snoop Dogg, two artists known for being West Coast legends. What makes this even better is that this is Drake pulling a signature move out of his battle repertoire, a back-to-back. Back-to-Back was a diss record towards Meek Mill that essentially ended the battle between the two. Charged Up had dropped in the same week, and so you get the title, Back-to-Back. This was Drake calling out the boogeyman, seeing what he would do, and, well, the boogeyman did not wait too long to respond. When you call upon the boogeyman, he gonna show up. The Tailor Made diss, however, has been taken down due to Tupac's family ordering a cease and desist. Academics, after the Tailor Made diss and the Push-Ups diss, was doing a daily tracker on Lamar, and on the 18th day, Lamar dropped the nuke, Euphoria, and that diss is littered with Easter eggs and double entendres, even down to the title. Lamar uses the cover to define Euphoria, essentially saying he is excited. He couldn't wait to finally run the ones and to let the public know how he really feels about this man. It's also in reference to Drake's executive producer role on the popular HBO show Euphoria with Zendaya. The record starts with an immediate Easter egg with a reverse audio track of Richard Pryor's role in The Wiz saying, "Everything they say about me is true," with the line ending in the film saying, "I'm a phony." He's immediately letting everybody know that he does not view Drake the same as everyone else does, talking about how his tough guy act is a facade, calling him a scam artist instead of a rap artist. He also talked about how Drake is a misogynist that also has a fixation on wanting to be one of the girls, shooting at his relationship with Sexy Red. He also continues the MJ comparison, saying, "Got a Benjamin and a Jackson all in my house, like I'm Joe, okay?" Calling himself Joe Jackson, Mike's father, who was extremely abusive to him and his brothers. He then tells Drake to not test him, especially because Pusha T ended up having the last laugh on him last time, revealing to the world that Drake had a son, and that whatever animosity he has towards Lamar, he should direct that towards Pusha T. He also talked about how he would inherit the beef with Pharrell to take over that because Pharrell is one of the most liked people in hip-hop. He does many more things in this record, saying how much he hates Drake, makes fun of his Toronto accent, how he wants to revoke his N-word pass, and finally, and the biggest, alluding to the idea that Drake might be a P-word with the pacifying line. Unfortunately for Drake, he will become very more direct. 616 in LA was Lamar's version of a back-to-back, dropping this on IG, where Drake has been doing a lot of his responses and taking his timestamp in a certain location trope as the title. The track was more of a psychological tactic than anything, where he talks about how people on Drake's team are only there because they are on payroll and that they are very quick to betray him. 616 is also significant because it's the birthday of Tupac, and that goes back to the AI diss that Drake made on Kendrick Lamar. To me, this diss felt more like Kendrick Lamar was baiting Drake, hoping that he would step out again, and it was also a warning sign for Drake, saying, hey, if you step out, it's gonna get real bad for you really fast, so I suggest you not do that. And, well, let's say Drake did not heed to his warning. Drake would drop Family Matters as a response to mostly Kendrick, while still continuing to throw shots at Rocky, Ross, Future, Cole, and Metro. It was a direct continuation of push-ups, and it starts by him saying the N-word, which is a direct shot at the idea that he shouldn't be saying it. Drake talks about how Kendrick was the one behind the cease and desist for the AI diss being taken off of Instagram, while also denying allegations that he sent one out for himself to get the Like That record taken off the radio. He also throws shots at Kendrick being a hypocrite for hating on Drake's blackness, while his partner herself is biracial. He stays on the subject of his partner for the big headlines alleging that Ep.3, co-owner of the PG Lang label with Kendrick Lamar, had a child with Lamar's partner. The word partner is key here because Drake claims that they're not actually married, insinuating that something more sinister is the reason why. He confirms that at the end of the track by alleging that Kendrick Lamar domestically abused her. At that point, the gloves were off in everybody's eyes, including Kendrick's. This was clearly supposed to be Drake's mega nuke, and it would have been if Kendrick didn't immediately step on Drake's big moment by dropping Meet the Grams a few minutes later. The song itself is great, and it showcased some of Drake's best rapping in years with that insane flow on the second beat. Not to mention how the music video had a lot of visual additions as well, like the Good Kid Mad City van being destroyed. Unfortunately for Big Obs though, this 15 minutes of fame was a legit 15 minutes. Meet the Grams is where Kendrick becomes ungodly sinister, talking to all of Drake's immediate family members, including his 11-year-old daughter, supposedly. He tells each of them that he essentially feels sorry that they have to deal with such a terrible human being who's a misogynist and a sex offender and a ped, who in Kendrick's eyes deserves to die. He continues to double down on the ped allegations while also saying that other people on his teams are SOs, including Drake, and Drake keeps them all under wraps. Family Matters again was supposed to be Drake's moment, but Kendrick, being as calculated as he is, also pressed his red button. The cover art of this song was the expansion of the 616 in LA, where it was a glove and a shirt and Ozempic pills with Drake's name on them, circling back to the idea that Kendrick believes that Drake has gotten liposurgery on his abs, which he stated on Euphoria. Kendrick then hit us with most likely his victory lap that has the entire, fuck the country, the entire world in a chokehold right now with his Not Like Us record. The song peaked at #1 on the Apple Music charts and the Billboard Top 100, and it featured a prototypical DJ Mustard West Coast beat. Within hours of the track's release, it was already being played at clubs throughout the nation. It would seem that many people were ready to see the demise of Drake, and were happy that Kendrick Lamar was the one to do it. The content of the song again is focusing on the pet allegations while also calling Drake a colonizer that steals from black culture whenever he needs to sell records. The cover art is Drake's mansion with the sex offender symbols above the house, poking fun at the idea that Drake and his team are a bunch of SOs. When I tell you, bro, this song is an absolute bop. Y'all have seen my reaction. It's on the channel. It made me switch sides. I was unbiased until I was on T. Kendrick's side. I ain't gonna lie, yo.
He doing this to you right now, Drake. He did not tell you to stop playing with those minors. That's what he doing to you right now, Drake. That's what he doing to you right now. He whooping that butt, boy. He whooping that butt, boy. You can't go for that. You a grown man. You can't go for this.
It was just refreshing to hear Kendrick rap over a West Coast beat and a West Coast flow, something we hardly get from him nowadays. It was a real moment in hip hop. The final song to come out of all of this would be Drake's The Heart Part 6, which was his way of exiting the beef as well. The title is a jab at Lamar's The Heart series, like how Lamar jabbed at his Timestamp series. He goes on the defense, shooting down the pet allegation, saying that he would be in jail if he was, which I ain't gonna lie, big dog, R. Kelly said the exact same thing, so I don't know if you could just get that one off, but I digress. He also claims that the Meet the Gram cover art and the 11-year-old daughter allegation was a plant that Kendrick bit on, saying both were fake. Since then, Kendrick did take down the cover art. He has some Easter eggs in there, like him rapping over an A minor key, another jab at Lamar's probably A minor line on Not Like Us, but it just didn't sit right with everyone. For Drake, this may have just been his way of exiting the beef, but to others, this was him waving the white flag. It has since gone down as probably the second most forgettable track in this battle behind Taylor Made, but definitely the least listened to one available on DSPs. Joe Budden, along with his castmates on his podcast, believe that this track was Drake waving the white flag, highlighting their belief that he lost this battle due to his arrogance. The episode titled Fancy Fest breaks down each of the last 4 diss records. Budden believes that the beef was bigger than just the general artist feel, but the entire music industry.
Just about the fans' opinion about a beef. The industry is sending a clear-cut message that you have won out your welcome.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
This is not a Kendrick just West Coast thing. That's what I'm saying.
And he is the right person to deliver that message for us.
Yeah,
because
Kendrick,
of who he is.
they just went and tapped somebody on the shoulder like Big Dog.
Go. Right
Help.
there. Yeah.
Help.
I agree with
Metro is on Twitter saying, hey, Drake, you know that I can't say whatever our real problem is because both of us are going to look crazy. That means that he's told somebody whatever that real problem is and it looked crazy. This is not just coincidentally we are all mad at Drake's success and we are acting out. This is bigger than that is all I'm saying. So for him to not recognize it, I agree with him on it. It just boils down to the arrogance, I think.
It is clear that this was a methodical jumping, and Kendrick was the one that they chose because, well, he's the biggest rap star and he'd been wanting to shoot the ones with Drake for a long time. I mean, over a decade at this point. It all circles back to the initial point that Drake is Thanos, and that everything has been leading up to this moment to take him down. Just like how in the MCU, they went through multiple phases to gather all the heroes that would eventually take down Thanos. To make the connection even deeper, Budden also talks about how Drake kept taking his eye off the main target to focus on everyone else. In Endgame, it got to the point where it felt like all the heroes were taking shots at Thanos until he eventually lost focus on the Infinity Stones and the Gauntlet that had led to his eventual demise. It's the same thing with Roman Reigns in my wrestling comparison, where he took his eyes off the ball to attack Seth Rollins with a steel chair that led to his demise. Drake's hubris got in the way of his victory with Kendrick, beating him at all the things that Drake is normally good at, like the witty lines, the great beats, the catchy summer songs. Kendrick was playing chess, not checkers. Kendrick wanted this more than Drake if it wasn't clear enough already. The dude had been calling him out for 11 years. I was in 6th grade when he started calling out Drake. So, where does this leave us now? We would now be in the aftermath phase. In Marvel, this will basically be where the Spider-Man Far From Home era or in the WWE pre-draft area period is. Kendrick has gone back into his cave, which is unsurprising to nobody. J. Cole is still pissing me the off with whatever the he just did.
She on my phone with a nickname.
Yep, guess time.
Future is probably out there being toxic right now. Metro is kicking Drake's dead carcass around with the BBL Drizzy song. And then you have Drake, who's shrugging off another major rap battle L like he didn't lose this one fair and square. I mean, you got this nigga rapping over the BBL Drizzy beat on Sexy Red's worst song by far. I mean, it's bad out here for the light-skinned dude. I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's just bad out here.
Walk on Delilah, no I'm late cause there's bad traffic. I just showed my dog your Grammy, said he knows a man that slapped it, I'm so cheesed.
Before I end the video, however, I do want to point out something because I feel like it's not being talked about enough. And before y'all say I'm pandering, I'm being woke and all this other stuff, just hear me out. I think women, specifically black women, have taken a major L in this whole situation. I mean, we could just talk about how Drake is known to be a misogynist, and I mean, the bad allegations don't come from nowhere, you know what I mean? Like, they have to come from somewhere. And so we seen Drake hang out with Latto's younger sister, and while she may be 20, 21 years old in legal age, this man is damn near LeBron's age. That's another thing I want to talk about. We don't talk about Drake as if he's like this, 36, 37-year-old guy. The dude is, LeBron James is 38. Drake is 36. We do not look at Drake and LeBron in the same tier of like an adult or just as a man at all. And that just goes back to Kendrick's point of, you're not really that great of a guy, because if you were a great of a guy, you would understand how important fatherhood is and knowing what that entails and how to be a man in life. But not to get too sidetracked, I do think that black women again have taken just a major L, especially on Kendrick's side too. If the domestic violence accusations are true and she retaliated and had a baby with Ep.3, it's just a whole unfortunate situation that had to go on, and unfortunately they had to be used as, cannon fire in this situation. Now, I am a true believer that in rap battle and rap beef that anything goes, and I mean, Pusha T was talking about 40s, disease that could end up, taking his life one day. I'm also not a huge URL fan, like I'm a casual, but you know what I'm saying? Like, anything goes. I'm a true believer in that. But I also do understand that these are two guys who, talk about protecting black women, talk about this, talk about that, but outside of the music, it doesn't really seem like they're doing that. And so I think it would be irresponsible for me or for anybody to use their platform when discussing this week to talk about how women have just been used in this situation.
But to wrap, in my personal opinion, I already told y'all this before. I think 2024 will go down as a better year musically, and I think this will go down as the greatest rap storyline when you think about it from a narrative perspective. I mean, just so much stuff happened, and there's so much lore behind it all. It's hard not to get invested, especially when all the songs slap. It's just like watching an Attack on Titan episode, knowing that there's so much lore sprinkled in throughout each episode. It's so much lore, so much storytelling, it's so much stuff going on in between the bars on social media that it's hard not to get invested in the storyline. And so when you look back at it and we talk about it with our kids and their grandkids and all that stuff beforehand, we talk about it in rap history. It's hard not to say that this will not go down as the greatest rap beef ever.
If you made it to the end of the video, I just want to thank you. I appreciate you. This video took a mad long time to make. Just some insight. I told you I was writing an article for this video that I was going to make into this, and so that took a couple of weeks, just to get all the details finally settled in and all that stuff. But I thought I would turn into more of a retrospective today, because I wasn't going to drop it as soon as I finished the article. That wasn't going to happen, especially when everything was still going on. And so I thought, it's been about a month now since Not Like Us has dropped. It's been about 2 to 3 months since everything has happened. I thought we could take, a mini step back since the beef is still hot, since Not Like Us is clearly the song of the summer. So I just thought that I would make a video about it, just taking a step back and really looking at everything in the grand scope of things. Just some updates for you guys. I finally graduated college. If you've seen my first video, I talk about how, getting videos, how it was going to be a struggle and all this, all that. But I did tell y'all that, 2024 is the year that I'm really going to be pushing content out. So I kept my promise, and I'm going to keep my promise that now that I'm out of school, I'm gonna really try to lock in and hone my craft on this YouTube thing and keep pushing out videos for y'all, because I love talking about music. You know what I'm saying? I made like 7 music videos in the past like 6 months. You know what I mean? So clearly this is like my first love. You know what I'm saying? I'ma still keep up with the anime content, still keep up with everything else. Like the retrospective series isn't going nowhere. I didn't forget about the Logic video. I didn't forget about it. It's a work in progress. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe. Tell me who you feel like won this battle, even though I feel like it shouldn't really be a disagreement at this point. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's a foregone conclusion, like I said in the beginning of the video, that who won this. But if you feel like Big Oz won this, go ahead, bro. If you feel like that guy behind me won this because he exited himself out, tell me that too, I guess. I don't know. I know how I feel about that guy right now. But anyway, y'all, it's been your boy Josh Shiro.